Just when France thought their road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup was becoming clearer, a shocking new development has thrown everything into doubt. A team that many fans and analysts still consider one of the strongest contenders for football's biggest prize is suddenly facing questions nobody expected to be asking this early. And at the center of it all are two names that continue to dominate headlines for very different reasons. One is Kylian Mbappé, the superstar captain whose every move seems to spark debate. The other is William Saliba, the defensive rock many believed would anchor France's back line for years to come. But now, a major update has changed the conversation completely. Because what started as a routine concern has quickly turned into a story that could affect France's entire World Cup campaign. And the timing could not be worse. For months, France looked like a team quietly preparing for another serious run at football immortality. They had the talent. They had the experience. They had one of the deepest squads in international football. Most importantly, they had a generation of players capable of competing with anyone on the planet. Yet behind the scenes, uncertainty was growing. At first, most fans didn't pay much attention. After all, France has dealt with injuries before. They've survived setbacks before. This is a nation that somehow continues to produce world-class talent at nearly every position. Losing one player, even a great one, shouldn't be enough to shake a football giant. Or should it? That's where this story becomes much bigger than a simple injury update. Reports surrounding William Saliba have raised concerns about his long-term availability and fitness heading toward the World Cup cycle. While official statements have attempted to calm fears, the fact that questions are being asked at all has created a wave of speculation throughout the football world. And once speculation begins, it rarely stays contained. Suddenly, fans started asking difficult questions. What happens if Saliba isn't fully fit? Who replaces him? Can France maintain the same defensive stability without one of the most reliable center-backs in world football? And perhaps most importantly, how much pressure would that place on Kylian Mbappé? Because whether people like it or not, every major story involving France eventually circles back to him. Mbappé remains the face of French football. Every victory gets linked to him. Every setback somehow becomes his responsibility. Every controversy carries his name. And recently, controversy has followed him everywhere. Some critics have questioned his influence within the national team. Others have debated whether the squad depends too heavily on his brilliance. There have been endless discussions about leadership, expectations, and whether France's future success rests too much on one superstar's shoulders. Most of those debates seemed exaggerated. Until now. Because a potential defensive crisis changes everything. Think about it. When a team loses defensive security, attacking stars suddenly face a different kind of pressure. They are expected to score more goals, create more moments, and carry even greater responsibility. That's exactly why this update has caught the attention of football fans worldwide. France isn't just dealing with an injury concern. They're potentially dealing with a shift in identity. For years, one of France's greatest strengths has been balance. World-class attackers, elite midfielders, strong defenders, depth everywhere. But remove one critical piece from that structure, and the entire equation changes. The concern isn't necessarily about replacing Saliba's position. The concern is replacing everything he brings. His composure, his positioning, his ability to read danger before it develops, his chemistry with teammates. Those qualities don't simply appear overnight. And that's why insiders are watching this situation so closely. What's fascinating is how quickly the narrative has evolved. Only weeks ago, discussions around France focused primarily on their strengths. Now, conversations are centered around vulnerabilities. That kind of shift can happen incredibly fast in football. One moment you're discussing trophy chances. The next you're discussing damage control. And while coaches often try to project confidence publicly, actions sometimes reveal more than words. Every squad decision becomes significant. Every training report becomes important. Every fitness update gets analyzed. Every rumor spreads faster than the last. That's exactly what has happened here. Meanwhile, Mbappé finds himself in a familiar position. The spotlight. Again. No matter what the actual issue may be, cameras eventually point toward him. Fans want answers. Media outlets want reactions. Pundits want opinions. And suddenly, a story about a defender becomes a story about France's captain. It's almost impossible to avoid. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. Despite all the concern, some analysts believe this situation could actually strengthen France in the long run. That might sound strange. How can a potential injury crisis be positive? The answer lies in preparation. Great teams aren't defined by perfect conditions. They're defined by how they respond when conditions become difficult. If France is forced to test alternatives now, they may discover solutions before the World Cup arrives. They may develop new partnerships. They may identify emerging talent. They may build flexibility that proves invaluable later. History has shown that championship teams often overcome adversity before reaching greatness. But there is another side to that argument. Because not every problem has a happy ending. Sometimes injuries expose weaknesses. Sometimes replacements struggle. Sometimes confidence drops. Sometimes momentum disappears. And nobody knows yet which direction France is heading. That's what makes this story so compelling. We're watching uncertainty unfold in real time. At the same time, FIFA officials and tournament observers continue monitoring the balance of power among the world's elite nations. France has consistently remained near the top of those discussions. But football is ruthless. The margin between favorite and vulnerable can be surprisingly small. A single injury, a single controversy, a single setback. Sometimes that's all it takes to change perceptions. And perception matters, especially before a World Cup. The psychological side of football is often underestimated. Opponents pay attention. They notice weakness. They notice instability. They notice doubt. If rival nations begin sensing vulnerability within France, that could alter the way matches are approached. Confidence isn't just internal. It's external too. And right now, France is battling questions from both directions. What's equally interesting is how fans have reacted. Some remain calm. They point to France's incredible depth and argue that one issue won't derail an entire campaign. Others are far less convinced. They remember previous tournaments where injuries played a major role. They understand how quickly plans can unravel. Neither side is completely wrong. That's because football history supports both viewpoints. We've seen talented teams survive devastating setbacks. We've also seen talented teams collapse under pressure. Which version of France will emerge? Nobody knows. And that uncertainty is fueling even more discussion. Meanwhile, Mbappe's role continues to evolve. He's no longer simply the exciting young superstar who burst onto the international stage years ago. He's now expected to lead, to inspire, to deliver, to carry expectations that would overwhelm most players. That's an enormous responsibility, particularly when external controversies refuse to disappear. Every public comment becomes news. Every performance becomes evidence. Every result becomes part of a larger narrative. And now, this latest development has added another layer to an already complicated picture. The pressure is increasing, not because Mbappe caused the situation, but because leaders are judged by how teams respond to adversity. Fair or unfair, that's reality. France's supporters know this. Their critics know this. Mbappe certainly knows this. That's why the coming months could be some of the most important of his international career. Not necessarily because of goals. Not necessarily because of trophies. But because of leadership. Because when uncertainty arrives, leadership becomes visible. Everyone can lead when things are going well. The true test comes when questions start appearing. And France is facing questions right now. Lots of them. Can the defense remain elite? Can the squad stay healthy? Can the team avoid distractions? Can Mbappe unite the group? Can France maintain its position among the favorites? Each question creates another layer of suspense. Each answer remains unknown. And that's exactly why football fans are paying attention. What began as a single update has expanded into a much larger conversation about the future of one of football's biggest powers. It's no longer just about William Saliba. It's no longer just about Kylian Mbappé. It's about France itself. A nation with enormous expectations. A nation expected to compete for every major trophy. A nation that rarely receives sympathy when problems arise because the talent level is simply too high. Yet talent alone doesn't guarantee success. It never has. Every World Cup teaches that lesson. Every tournament produces surprises. Every favorite faces challenges. France is discovering that reality once again. The biggest question now is whether this moment becomes a temporary scare or the beginning of something much more serious. That's what nobody can answer yet. Medical updates will continue. Training sessions will continue. Preparations will continue. But uncertainty remains. And uncertainty creates pressure. As the football world watches closely, France finds itself standing at a crossroads. One path leads toward stability, recovery, and renewed confidence. The other leads toward growing concern, increasing scrutiny, and difficult decisions. The difference between those paths may be smaller than anyone realizes. That's why every development matters. That's why every report generates headlines. That's why fans continue debating what comes next. Because beneath all the speculation lies a simple truth. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is approaching faster than people think. And every major nation is racing against time. France still possesses world-class talent. France still has one of the most dangerous squads in football. France still has Kylian Mbappé. But for the first time in a while, there are visible cracks in the conversation surrounding this team. Not panic, not disaster, just uncertainty. And sometimes uncertainty can be more dangerous than certainty itself. Because uncertainty invites doubt. Doubt invites pressure. Pressure changes everything. So now the football world waits. Waiting for updates. Waiting for answers. Waiting to see whether William Saliba's situation becomes a footnote or a defining storyline. Waiting to see whether Mbappe can silence another wave of criticism. Waiting to see whether France can turn concern into motivation. And perhaps that's the biggest twist of all. Just a short time ago, everyone was asking whether France could win the World Cup. Now, many are asking a completely different question. Can France overcome the problems appearing long before the tournament even begins? And if they can, could this difficult moment actually make them stronger than ever? That's the debate that will continue growing in the weeks ahead. So let us know what you think. Is France still the team to beat at the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Or is this latest update the first warning sign that bigger problems are coming?